clusters of granola chunks up in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see these in ash trees as well.
Oh.
And what that is this is a male tree. This is a male flower structure that has been deformed by areophyte mites. These are tiny microscopic mites. There's a bunch of different species of them. They feed in different plants. There are some that feed on the male flowers of cottonwoods. There are others that feed on the male flowers of ash. And basically what they are doing is effectively gelding the tree. There's no other health consequence to the tree. Taking away the reproductive ability. Castration in this case. Because this is the male flower that's supposed to be producing pollen and it can't. So this tree cannot be part of the reproductive effort into the future. That doesn't impact its health as a tree standing here today. So again, it's something that would be extremely difficult to try to control. Mites are not susceptible to most insecticides. You'd have to do some kind of a whole canopy spray or maybe a systemic insecticide treatment for a problem that really isn't a problem. It's aesthetically...
There are other males around doing their job, right?
Yeah, or not. And again, in this case...
We don't really want this to reproduce.
We don't really care if this...
Really?
Yeah, because it's in a park setting.
Oh.
In the Bosque, we want them to reproduce.
I just replanted about 10 of them now.
Okay. and it's not a guarantee that they're going to get it.
No.
So.
I have a clarification question. When you said you don't worry until more than 25% of the leaf is infected, do you mean 25% of the leaves on the tree have a hole, or 25% of the space on any given leaf has holes?
25% of overall leaf area has gone missing over the
From
whole
the tree. Okay. All right.
So some leaves might be
good
just
question.
10% left. But if the rest of it is a lot, then again, it's kind of that summation over the whole tree. And that is a variable number.
Okay.
It's kind of like the pruning dosage. The younger and faster growing a plant is, the more it can absorb. The older, more mature, and more compromised a tree is, the lower that dosage level. So this tree I might start worrying at 15%.
Yeah.
Except personally, it's an old cottonwood in a park. I'm not going to worry about it at all. It lasts as long as it lasts, and then we're done. Cottonwoods are not long-lived trees. All right.
Really?
Oaks. This park has a tremendous variety.
I
of oaks.
didn't know that.
I'm capturing the surprise on your face.
No, we have some 25-year ones, but there's some that have been there for 50 years at least.
And they're such an old, tree relatively. I think the cottonwood's been around for 30 million years.
Wow.
Oh, that's a baby.
Maybe it's 300 million.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Well, 3 0, maybe
Once you
another
get past
zero.
the million.
Give $1 million, take 10, 100 million, whatever,
It
whatever.
looks like it's in the red oak group, but there's a lot of different oaks. All right, so we look at this tree again, kind of that overall summation. Good density, tip dieback in the canopy, edge, no. Good color, good root flare. We do have dieback in the interior.
I saw that.
So some of that might simply be a shading effect. When branches don't make enough energy to at least pay their own way, the tree will often shut them down because they're not helping, they're using. So that might be what some of this is. There may be some other things going on, but just to look at the tree, again, this is just a beautiful root flare, nice healthy trunk. You know, we have this low branch that's died, but the tree has pretty well tried to deal with that wound. This is all wound wood trying to grow over the stem that won't get out of the way. So very healthy tree. Then we look at this one right next to it. It's another oak, a different species. And there's kind of a whole different sense. The canopy density is good. There's no twig dieback in the outer edge. There's a decent root flare. The leaf color is way off. It's very pale yellow and even ending up in some places with this
Dry.
mottled
Burn.
burn. So this is very likely, I have not sent this to the lab to have it tested, but I would bet that this is Xylella fastidiosa, which is a bacteria-like organism that grows in the vascular tissue and small diameter branches and causes what is called summer leaf scorch. And it affects over 300 species of plants. It's transmitted by leaf hoppers, so little insects carry it around. I have seen trees have it and then the next year seem to not have it. It isn't treatable in any case. Like a lot of these, the worst diseases aren't treatable. The ones that we don't really have to worry about, we probably have a treatment for. Then let's look at some other stuff. Let's actually cross right over here. There's a lot of stuff going on right in here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know it's like, from learning about trees, I know there's not like a general rule for everything, but is there something that makes a tree more susceptible to viruses and bacteria
Yes.
than other things?
Yes. It makes it more susceptible to disease and or insects, and that is just stress.
Stress.
Yep. If the tree
Oh, like humans.
exactly like humans.
Okay.
Now, but so here's a blue spruce.
Aw.
Obviously having some issues. There's a number of things we could look at. Let's go a little bit closer. And again, looking at the leaves, which in this case are needles, looking at color change, we have where the tips of the needles are starting to kind of brown down, but there's almost a little purple in it. And then we get into the really browned out stuff. It is two trunks, and so this might be a big piece of the issue right here. Is we've got two codominant stems that split really, really low, but they're tight together, and you can kind of see on this backside there's some seams. So there's a lot of what we call included bark, where as this trunk grows and this trunk grows, they're actually pushing against each other. They're not connected fiber to fiber in there. That fiber to fiber connection is lost about here in this species, in the specimen.
That sounds hollow.
Yeah, anytime that you tap on the bark and it sounds hollow and you can peel it off like
Oh
that,
no.
that's not a good thing. So,
There's bugs in there?
yeah, so there's some earwigs and things. The relevant thing here is this tissue right here where my finger is running. That is the edge of living tissue. This is dead, this is living. So this is probably tied to, again, a number of things going on. The compression caused by the included bark issue has probably enabled a vascular attacking disease to take hold, and I think this is probably cankering that is eating away at that living rind, and may well spread through the tree at some point. I think what's mostly going on here is a needle cast disease, where there's a fungus that is attacking the tree because it's stressed. What's the stress? This is certainly stressful, but also heat. This tree is not tolerant of the kind of temperatures it has to endure. So that just doesn't help. All right, let's look at these over here.
And this is the
Again, symptomology. It also helps to know what you're looking at. So does anyone know what kind of tree these are? Right in front of us, these three big ones. You can go in close and look at the leaves if you
Are
want.
they really small?
No? Although the color is good, like a good healthy mulberry. I don't know
It's an ash tree.
Yes. Ash. So that's one leaf, right? The whole thing. And it has opposite branching. So it's an ash tree. So let's go back to that quick rule of thumb. You know, dieback in the outer canopy?
Yep.
Yeah, but it's real patchy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Density, where there's leaves, the density is good. Where there's leaves, the color is good.
Yeah.
But where there isn't, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And so this is just one of those that you learn over time. These trees right here are being hit by an insect pest called the ash bark beetle. And unlike pine bark beetles that hit the main trunk, ash bark beetles hit small diameter wood.
Those are here? I didn't think they were here yet.
The emerald ash borer is not here,
Oh, gotcha.
but ash bark beetle is. So all of these little holes are caused by, and this tunneling right in here
Wow.
is caused by the ash bark beetle. They look
Where are
about
the
this,
You can kind of see them.
right in here. Little holes. So these are typical bark beetle sized beetles, which is to say they're the size of a fat short grain of rice. That's as big as they get. And knowing that these trees are really heavily hit, that also, it turns out, is a pretty good clue to what variety of ash this is. Chances are this is Marshall. Marshall ash is this really lush green, and the beetles love it.
Pennsylvania ash. It's
Yep.
an eastern ash.
Yep.
Marshall.
This
But there's
doesn't turn purple, does it? In the
no.
fall?
This would be yellow. Yeah.
This is not my ash. Still freaking out about my tree.
It says ash.
Does this have compaction? Because it's near a playground.
Yeah, it probably does.
It's going to add to the
It is. It is going to add to the stress. Anytime you've got, you know, playgrounds where you're going to have kids running, you're going to have adults sitting around. There's a little increase in that
What
compaction.
gets rid of kids?
What's that?
What gets rid of kids?
What gets rid of
Nothing.
kids?
You didn't say that.
Probably something.
And are we causing compaction just wandering around under the trees looking at them?
Yeah.
Of course.
That's our
Especially
micro-
because they water.
Yeah, and they just watered
Yeah.
this morning, right? So yeah, we're causing that little micro compaction. It's one of the issues where turf and trees end up having a little bit of conflict. But let's look at these other ash trees right
Who
here.
doesn't
'Cause-
love sitting under a
Animals
tree?
walk on them, so I mean,
Yeah. Most of the animals that are still around here aren't as heavy as we are.
And don't have a
None of them play soccer on the field. the way we do. So yeah, I mean, you could imagine like a herd of bison coming
Yeah.
through and just
But that's
tearing the
just
hell out of the
one.
landscape, but then they don't return for 2 years.
Well, and that's
Well,
aeration
and
anyway,
bison
right?
do a really nice job of opening
Yes,
up the soil.
as long as it doesn't keep happening.
making
with
little
their
puddles too,
hoof,
right?
with their hoof,
All right.
and then they
Oh, dear.
fertilize.
Here are four more ash trees.
These ashes.
Yeah. So this particular situation is we've got yellowing, we've got some stunting, followed by wholesale dieback. The first time I saw this going on in a tree in a city park, it was a tree that by itself probably had the mass of any 2 or 3 of these. Huge tree in a big irrigated area. Good root flare, no girdling, and it just starts yellowing and dying back bit by bit. So I have a theory. The lab has yet to confirm my theory, but there is a disease that is known as ash yellows, and it causes this kind of symptomology. You get a yellowing, a stunting, and a dying. There's really no other reasonable explanation for what's going on here, but every time I've sent samples to the lab, they have not found it, for whatever that's worth.
The interesting thing in this one
Is it hard
is
to
the
detect?
top of the canopy
Yeah, it looks
is
nice.
good.
Right,
It's
but
lower.
vigorous growing fig trees that I had seen in town, both of them were on the north side of a 2-story building. which I would never have planted a fig tree on the north side of a two-story building. It's a cold environment. But they were also completely surrounded by hardscape. They were little courtyards of condo type buildings. And I think that the thermal mass of the buildings,
Yeah, that would keep heating it all.
Yeah, probably protected them
and then
enough
it
in the winter.
protected from the wind a little bit, and then maybe it also slowed them down a little bit, so they came out a little later. Maybe all that combined. I have a dwarf
Got
cherry
lucky.
tree on the north side of my house, right next to the kitchen window. That the way you get a dwarf cherry tree is a dwarfing rootstock. Well, this dwarfing rootstock is not working. That tree, this is like 4 years in, and I'm looking at it out the window going, you're not going to make it one more year. It's got everything it needs, but it's got such a wimpy root system trying to grow this tree that it's not working. So I'm going to rip it out, and I'm going to move one of the figs from the backyard to the front yard in the north side, right up against the house, and see if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It might, yeah, nothing to lose at this point. All right. Go back to the cheat sheet here. Okay, trees are showing stress in the leaf, but it could also be manganese, zinc, or magnesium, or any combination thereof. It's usually attributed to a mismatch between a plant's genetics and our high pH soils, where a lot of the nutrients just aren't very available. We look at a tree like this one though, and the yellowing is not really a chlorosis. Well, actually some of it is. So right up in here, the veins are standing out more green, but there's also just a lot of browning. I would suspect this one might also test positive for xylella. It's one of the known hosts. It's the first one on Auburn's list of hosts. You know, what else can we see here? What is this? It could possibly be a canker, but it's happening on that root, it's happening on this root, it's happening over on this side. It's lawnmower damage. Yeah. And so when I worked for the Parks Department as the city forester, we lost more new trees to our own maintenance crews
To the trimmers?
than any other single.
Yeah, the string trimmers?
Yep. Or, I mean, mowers. Sometimes they would take right over that tree. And there's this tree in the landscape with most of the top gone. It's like, really? Really? You got away with that? All right, moving on. So, you know, again, lots of different kinds of leaf symptoms. And there's too much to try to give you an encyclopedic read of it, but learning and paying attention to how that shows up can help. A lot of times, and we're not going to see it here, but herbicide damage will show up as deformed growth. Things will come in stunted, strap-shaped, pulled, taffy-looking. Other herbicides aren't quite as distinctive and just look like something's wrong with the tree.
Sometimes there are lots of dots. You know, they show up as drift, the dots on the leaf.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had class on Tuesday morning. I don't know why it doesn't show up as the actual details, because I have it on my phone. I have all the classes. It's so weird. Well, I'm in class, but it's over at 10, so I'll be there. I'll be there.
Really typical of a cottonwood root system. Trees and turf tend to be shallow rooted, cottonwoods especially. The thinking, at least my thinking on that, is that when we irrigate turf, we're watering frequently but shallow, and so the tree roots have to grow where the water is.
Yeah.
Then you start mowing them,
Oh, and
and
this is what you get.
now we've got
Breaking up
decay
the
that
top.
can get into the tree through the roots. And we'll see the trees begin to decline. This one is just marginally starting to decline. With cottonwoods, it can happen pretty quickly.
Can you bury
You could, so there's different thoughts there. One is that if the soil that you bury them with is of a lighter texture than the soil underneath, you can put a fair amount. So I can cover 6 inches of sand on top of a silt or a clay soil, but you can't go the other way. You can't put that more dense, tight soil type on top of a looser soil and have it work well. So theoretically, you could like bring in enough fill dirt to kind of try to do that.
Would it help the tree, or would it?
Not at this point. I mean, it might have if they could have avoided the problems up front. There's a couple of other trees I wanted to point out. We may or may not get to them. We'll get close to it. I still want to get up that way. And I hope somebody's keeping an eye on the clock because I have
9:36.
All right, we've got an hour.
We got an hour.
Or no, half hour, right.
I'll take it.
I was like, I got it all.
All right, we'll stand right here. The 2 trees that I wanted to look at. One is that tree over there that's a big tree with a bunch of dead and a bunch of yellowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone from a distance have a guess as to what that is?
The type of tree or the disease?
The type of tree.
I'm
The one of the single most inappropriate species that you could ever plant here.
Siberian elm?
Silver maple.
Oh,
Yes.
I was close.
And the silver maple, so I've been watching this tree for well over a decade, almost 2 decades. When I started as city forester, it would get chlorotic on the side that's now dead. But that side wasn't dead yet. Why is that happening? Why is it getting chlorotic? Why is it getting dieback? I have theories. My theory is that silver maple is just not well adapted to our soil conditions, our pH and whatnot. So that's going on. They are high water trees, but I think that a lot of the chlorosis in this tree is also tied to the fact that they super irrigate this soccer pitch right in front of the tree. And constantly wet, shallow soil will become somewhat anoxic. There's not enough oxygen in there, and it's a known cause for chlorosis. So, that's a tree that when I was with the city, I thought, well, maybe I should try hitting it with some micronutrient fertilizer and see if I can turn it around. I didn't. We have tried that with other trees as a company, have yet to have any impact. I just think it's where silver maple in Albuquerque is going to go. It's got a beautiful root flare. It's got water in all directions as far as it could possibly root, and it's tanking.
What's the source of the water?
It's city irrigation.
So it's fluoridated?
Yeah. I don't know if this park is on reclaimed water or not. There's a few parks that are. They tend to have more of a salt issue.
Yeah, you see it in the leaves.
Yeah, and there are
the
some
dirt.
linden here. Linden are really sensitive to salt, and I haven't seen that marginal browning.
By salt, you mean sodium and potassium? Or?
Well, anything that's a
Yes.
combination of of an acid and a base is technically a salt. And so-
Exactly, but you need those.
right, and so you do.
That's
The soil
sand.
has to have a low level of salt in it in order for chemistry to function right, soil chemistry. But anytime we add, it could be a sodium chloride type salt. It could be any synthetic fertilizer. They're all salts by nature.
Manure.
Manure can be salty. There's a lot of potential sources for salt, including our water, potentially.
Okay, sorry, I'm a chemist and you're confusing me, so I'll stop.
Well, I'm not a chemist.
That's all right, that's why I'm confused.
Um,
Salt means a lot of nothing, positive and negative charge, and so I'm just trying to pull out what cations or anions are you worried about.
yeah,
But that's okay.
that's a good
me. I'll go
question.
dig.
I'd love to dig into that at some point. I don't have an answer
Okay.
at this point.
That's
My guess
The
is,
soul of soil.
I'm looking for the word, but like fills the cells too much.
Well, and so
and that's
that
usually sodium because it fits right in the stone.
And
Well, but-
HCl, but also the potassium.
Potassium
It's
is-
KCl.
yeah,
Does
and if
that.
the soil has a lot of salt in it, that is going to make it hold on to water tighter. And so part of that might simply be that there's not as much available water. I don't know, but there's a
I'll have a
number
look.
of
It
reasons why
dehydrates it.
salt.
What's your dirt? Is this fill dirt or? have
This
you
is
analyzed?
mostly going to be native soil. It's
Oh,
going
wow.
to be a decomposing granite base augmented by decades of organic matter.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
and that's
that
pretty healthy.
Judy Nichols was the one that kind of made me think about that. You know how poor our native soils are because of lack of water and organic matter. Well, you grow turf on it for a couple of decades, and you got water and you got organic matter, and you're building soil.
Yeah.
This tree, the only reason I wanted to point this out, it's a little crab apple. This tree was planted by my crew, under my supervision, back in about 2015. It was replacing a tree that was a little crab apple that somebody came and stripped the bark off. We took this out of the nursery that the city has down in the North Valley. It was too big to dig with a tree spade, so we bare rooted it with an air spade. And we planted it bare root. The root mass that we moved probably came out to here.
Wow.
The first year after planting, there was no dieback, but every branch was sparse. And the next year was a little less sparse. And the next year, less sparse, and now look at it. And so it really made me kind of understand that with that bare rooting and with the air spade, one of the things that they promote about the air spade tool is that you're blowing compressed air at supersonic speeds into the soil, but it doesn't damage the roots. Well, it doesn't damage bigger, mature roots, but those fine,
Little ones.
barkless,
Yeah.
absorbing roots, they get blown to heck.
Of course they do.
And so the tree has to restart with that. But again, it didn't
Comes
actually
back.
lose any canopy envelope.
Huh.
So that was kind of cool. All right, we're gonna head over this way.
It's a
and
great
then
tree.
we might be out of. And I'm sorry, we hardly got into this booklet I gave you. There's just a lot in here to read through and think about. I've spent from the age of 27 on, and I'm 62 now, learning this stuff in one way or another. So I realize there's a lot of information that is hitting me fast, and it leaves a lot of gaps. And I'm sorry, there's only so much we can do in an hour and a half to try to pack that in.
In this course, I've come to realize you can never stop learning about trees.
No, you can't. And the deeper I get into it, you'll hear people say this all the time, but the more I know, the more I realize I don't
Don't
know.
know. Yeah.
And they use a fire hose to teach us.
Yes.
Kind of common now.
Like, here you go. Like, I'm trying to avoid it, but I have too much salt. But the salt. Whoa. Look at that big old thing.
Wow.
Have you seen? I don't even know what that is.
It's a caterpillar.
But to what?
Yeah, caterpillar.
That is a sphinx moth caterpillar, probably. Yeah, it's a horntail. See,
Wow.
Oh, you did not like that.
Get big.
He's all
Are you
mad.
familiar with tomato hornworm?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's the same family
Those
of
things.
moths.
They're aliens.
That's the
Sphinx
biggest
moth.
caterpillar I've seen in my
That's
life.
a big one.
That's proof of
Yeah.
aliens.
This is the
That looks
second
like a
biggest.
slug,
I've
it's
seen
so
a big
big.
one in Costa Rica.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
resemble feces.
That's what I thought
yeah,
it was.
What, the banana
Well-
slug? What was that? I saw a huge one in Costa Rica as well.
Yes, I think so.
That sounds right. I just saw it moving around. I'm like, ooh.
Nice spot.
Yeah, good eyes.
Well, I don't want to step on people.
So this poor little mimosa, it's been struggling since I was ever paying attention to it as city forester. And it's got a bunch of stuff going on with it. If you look up in here on the bottom side of that dead branch, you can see there's some shallow grooves in the wood. That shallow grooving is done by flat-headed borer larvae. It's a type of beetle. The larvae are feeding in that living rind area, and they're fairly big larvae, but they're actually mostly attacking that which is already stressed and dying. They're not a prime cause. We also have these areas where, again, the bark has died, the sapwood underneath has died. We've got an edge of living tissue. That's a canker. That's a cankering disease at work in this tree. You can see it in various areas, and basically wherever it's growing, it has destroyed the vascular tissues in both directions. And have you all had tree anatomy yet?
Yep.
Okay. So the xylem, the phloem, the canker takes out both of them.
And there's nothing that can be done about that.
There's nothing
Not
that can be
after
done
it's
about it.
happened.
You know, what I sometimes tell clients, if I sense they have a sense of humor, is I say, well, fire will get rid of it. It's just really hard on the tree too. So I have to make sure they have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
So, you know, what came first in this tree's dilemmas? I don't know. It's hard to say. We have a decent root collar. There is some root damage from mowers and whatnot. There may be some girdling going on. My guess is probably the cankering disease got into it first, most likely from a damaged root, and then has just begun to invade the whole canopy. And you can see it up in here. Sometimes what's kind of cool from a diagnostic or purely biology perspective is sometimes when you see an old canker, you can see these rounded edges in layers where they formed, and then the fungus spread and killed that part, and then they formed again, and then that killed that part, and so you'll get these stacked edges of that
Yeah.
that
It's a
tissue.
terrible wound that your hand is on. That wound
Yeah,
The tree's
did
trying.
not heal right at
never had
all.
a chance.
What is this?
I don't know. Is it?
Oh, that
Supposed to
was
be a plaque?
Old
yeah.
plaque.
That used to be. This was a memorial tree back
It's
in
not
the
a
day.
fuse box or anything.
No. Somebody popped the
The
brass
brain for
off
the
the
sprinkler
surface
system.
and
Oh,
took it
good.
down
Yeah,
and
that's
sold it for
valuable.
50 cents. Yeah, old wounds like this could also be a source for a lot of problems getting into the tree. Decay certainly can get in
Yeah.
through an old wound like this. The way that cut was made, it really had no chance for that wound to seal. And
So when do you say goodbye tree, and do you let these grow because it's trying?
That may come from the roots.
yeah, so that is coming off the root
It looks the
system.
same.
And if it were me and I were still managing this landscape, really smart man.
Well, no, let's turn those in.
They don't even have lenses.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good thing.
They
They're
look
just for
obvious.
show.
They look not this.
I've
They look
lost
like
so many,
somebody's
that's why I
readers.
said.
I would be debating taking this tree out now from, if I were managing this in a park environment. It's losing aesthetic appeal, and part of the park is the aesthetic appeal. It's potentially a source for disease to spread in the landscape, but most of the disease is already in the landscape, and they're just waiting for a tree to become susceptible. So that I'm not too concerned about. In terms of the root sprouts, I probably would not keep them because they are going to be growing up off of a decaying root system. And so if they do grow strong, they're not going to be well anchored, and chances are that they probably aren't going to grow strong because that root system is already having issues. There's mushrooms growing on that side. There's mushrooms growing over here somewhere I saw them.
Oh yeah, right.
Over
Yeah.
here. So this is a tree in decline. Now that said, it's also in a spot in the landscape where it could be left to decline. There's really low chance of a piece of this tree falling out and hurting somebody. It's never negligible, but it's a low chance. People, first of all, it's, you know, I don't know, maybe if you're watching a tennis match, there's some shade here or something, but there's other spots to sit that probably make this not the most appealing place to just hang out. All right, we're gonna hit a couple of things right here and then head back.
We came to this park with our mentor group
Oh, nice.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was really fun.
That was with Ruth. Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I'm gonna wrap up some of what is in this document by just talking about how with both diseases and insects that attack trees, the ones that attack leaves tend to be the most visible and often the least worrisome. Things that attack the living rind are the least visible and absolutely worrisome, which is just an ironic truth that which we need to worry
you
about,
can't
we're not
see
going
it.
to see very well. So this is a tulip tree, Liriodendron tulipifera. It's going to have a big, you can see the flowers. Well, that's actually maybe the old fruit. It's already bloomed, I would think.
Yeah, it blooms
Yeah.
in the spring.
Yeah. Big, wide open, beautiful flower.
Yellow.
This one also has got quite a bit of leaf discoloration and browning. Some of this could be salt. This is a species from eastern soils which tend to be less salty, and usually salt toxicity is noticed as what's called marginal browning. The very outer edge of that leaf will brown. The idea is that the plant is taking in that excess salt, moving it through the xylem out to the furthest point, and it accumulates to a lethal dose at that edge. So this could be salt damage, but I'm also wondering if we might not be looking at a little bit of other things going on, potentially xylella, which is that nasty disease that's out here in 300 or so species of plants, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Moving on, we'll kind of end with a quick look at these two trees. Again, lots of issues. Obviously a major amount of dieback. Some of this dieback is fairly recent. This little twig right here with leaves still on it, that probably died this year. Right? So this is in active dieback. It's a maple. I think it's probably a Shantung maple. I don't know them real well, but I think that's what this is. Supposedly one of the maples a little more tolerant of our alkaline and hot conditions. I wouldn't be surprised if we've got some major root issues just out of view. Here's where we've got some dark staining in the bark that to me is worrisome. It doesn't have that, it doesn't have the look and feel of a bacterial wetwood slime flux, and it's directly below this big patch of decay. So that may be indicative of that decay column having reached down into here and about to break out.
Is
down
that a
there.
lost limb or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So this
So it
looks
didn't
like
heal right.
probably quite some
It's not
time
cut,
ago
That's a fall.
a limb broke off of there or was ripped out of there. It's a little hard to tell because we've got a similar dieback on the top of this branch, which is, to me, the way it's growing, that looks like a canker. You could have cankering in a tree weaken it to where that branch comes off easily, right? So none of these
Especially if
things
kids are
are
sitting in
mutually
it.
exclusive. Oh, you have to get over on here
Yeah.
to see it. It's the top side of this branch.
Okay.
And you have to be a little taller.
Yeah, if you come back over here,
Oh,
Actually, I think
that's
shorter works
cankering.
better.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
You always have to, I mean, in this case, like in a park, you always have to wonder about kids.
Liability.
Yeah, in terms of like, did they break a branch
Falling
or
in.
something?
Yeah, but yeah, because I go to like the music in the park at Altura Park, and there's always a ton of kids, and there's a couple of trees with low branches, and there'll be 2 6-year-olds on the branch, and then there's 3 6-year-olds on the branch, and then there's 4 6-year-olds on the branch, and they're making it be a pony,
6-year-old.
and you're just thinking, oh, the tree.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and again,
These trees get
it's hard to control that. We can control it some with pruning young trees, but there's that whole idea of structural pruning. We've got to kind of slowly iterate to that point. We can't just do it all at once. And the problem, when I worked for the city, when we would plant a new tree, we would structurally prune it really hard, because that might be the last time any of us ever touched that tree.
Yeah.
They have, right now, I think they've got 5, maybe 6 pairs of boots on the ground. They got over 25,000 trees spread over 300 parks, 300 plus parks. There's no way that they can do even basic maintenance.
Right.
It's a lost cause.
You said that this had silver maple
the
on
one
it.
with
There's another one that's like
Oh,
autumn
67
blaze.
leg.
It's a new one that's really popular.
Yeah,
And one
autumn
of the
blaze,
hybrids
Who's missing
is
a leg?
silver maple.
I think it's a hybrid silver and
It's
something.
silver and something else.
Yeah.
Why are
But
they walking
Shangtung,
around
I think, is
taking
its own
pictures?
species.
At least
I
get
think.
them up.
Get him some.
This
Cool
is a
scooters.
hop hornbeam. Very unusual. And again, to me, this kind of looks like a lot of salt damage, the way that those margins are really strongly ground. But, why would it be? Maybe it's a tree that is sensitive, and over the years it's just, I don't know why it's playing out right now the way it is, but that would be what I would start
Fertilizer?
investigating. I would look at soil salt levels.
Yeah, this area would collect water because it's a little lower than here.
Yeah.
And the irrigation is going to end up.
Well, everybody stands here and hangs on a tree.
Yeah. Yeah, so there might also be a lot of compaction in the soil right here. That can cause some issues.
The tennis court.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's not that side.
Yeah, that's the surprising part.
And it may not even be on that side of the tree. In some cases, some trees do tend to have a little bit more of a spiraling vascular tissue. I think that's more true with wild-grown trees that experience wind. That tends to cause some of that spiraling. It's a more structurally strong form. But it's a pretty good rule of thumb that if I cut roots on this side of the tree, branches on this side are going to suffer.
Right.
You put your driveway in, or
Yeah.
they trench for your irrigation.
Yep. Yep.
That's the side of the tree that has
Yeah.
the problem.
Or like there's a fella, really well-known landscape architect, Greg Miller, who lives not too far from me. He's got a really nice house, great landscape, 3 big sycamore trees in the front yard. Well, about a decade ago, they redid his lawn irrigation system and they retrenched, and those trees have tanked, absolutely tanked. They're now just almost sticks. And it's because of all the, they trenched basically everywhere
Through the root.
through the roots.
Is that a giant canker?
I know. That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
And so cankers
Well, it may not be. It may not be. It's possible this is just a mechanical wound,
Oh,
but no, I'm going to change my mind now. So the reason I went first with the possibility that it was a mechanical wound only is that the canopy still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
except right there.
Yeah. And you've seen a little bit there, and then, okay, here it is. It's popping up adjacent. If we pop that off, there'll be a dead spot under there.
Sorry, cankers are a bacterial infection?
Usually fungal.
Fungal.
And there's a number of different species that'll cause them. And canker is just a generalized term for that spot in the tree where the living rind has died, and typically then the bark and the inner bark actually slough off, and you're left with exposed wood, which this part is no longer sapwood because it's dead.
It's just going around it with all the
Right.
nutrients.
And so what
That's
is
the
kind of
healing.
cool is this tree is actually doing a decent job of putting down
recovering.
reaction growth
Yeah.
around this weakness.
So this is a pretty recent. The
It
tree
may
was
be
pretty
recent.
big when this happened.
Most likely. It also could be that for whatever reason the organism causing this canker is not attacking as vigorously, and maybe the tree is just really set up to be a good root system and growing well, so it's able to kind of slow that down. But I suspect that this is going to be slowly increasing, and then the dieback that we're going to see in
The lower range.
honey locust, a lot of times we will see a lot of oozing of a sap through the bark, and when the oozing is not directly associated with the hole, it's not insect. There may also then become, these will get some boring beetles that will attack them when they're declining, but again, usually those are secondary.
So the only thing to do for a canker is just give it the best growing conditions possible, and then when it's gone, it's gone.
Yep.
Okay.
And in some cases,
Sorry.
that may be
I know.
decades.
Yeah. And that may not be what I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna stop there. There's a lot that we haven't covered. I think.
Anything major we need to?
So I'm trying to think through here. Just talking about a lot of different types of insect and disease issues. Some of the symptoms, some of the signs that you might see. So it's the kind of thing that maybe, spending a little bit of time working through it. The diagnostic process itself. Okay.
I
that's
like
a good
that at
one.
the end. It's kind of how to go through it. It's
Yeah.
a good flow chart.
Yeah. I really do like this idea of, if I'm diagnosing something, usually I want to kind of see it from a distance first, get a sense for the whole landscape that it's in, what those conditions are like, and that whole tree view, and then kind of work your way methodically up the trunk into the main branches and the smaller branches. Now that said, the leaves often jump out at you because they're right there in front, right? So they're the first thing you see. And sometimes that's all you need to see. Sometimes that leaf symptom is enough of a sign that you know what's going on. But I usually just take that as a general thing and then look for the cause. Because again, the cause is probably not in the leaf itself, it's probably just being reflected in the leaf. Looking for alternative or additional factors. I think this is one where a lot of people get tripped up, especially when we see boring holes on dead and dying branches. There's the assumption, the boring insect is killing the tree, and usually it's eating the corpse. Something else is killing that, and
It's
so
like it's a symptom.
yeah, it's a symptom. And so there's an example. The city is currently trying to go through a process of really revamping their tree-related ordinances. They had a little webinar about it the other day. I was attending that. They were talking about some trees up at the senior center, way up in the heights, and I forget which one.
Bear Canyon?
Bear Canyon, I think that was it. There's a bunch of honey locust in the parking lot that have beetle damage. And they're talking about, having to get control of the beetle damage. And I just made the point that it's the environment. They're in tiny little cutouts in a hot parking lot with bad air, the beetles aren't the problem.
They're just monopolizing on it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a cultural issue.
It's a cultural issue. I made up a slide one time, and I even made up a journal entry. The Journal of Thin Air and something else. Anyways, it's all just a joke, but in the graph what I do is I show the causes of tree stress in urban trees in the Southwest. And so 80% of tree stress is environmental. It's site conditions. 20% is insect and 10% is disease. And if you sum those up, it's 110%.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it is to get that idea into your head that it's going to start with the environmental conditions, and then other things will stack on to that, and they may be more visible. And a lot of times the environmental conditions we can't do much about, and so sometimes we just do attack the symptom of the beetle because at least we can kill them and slow it down.
It feels like we're doing
And it
something.
feels like we're
It
doing
feels like
something.
we're doing something.
Because the actual fix of redoing the landscape
expensive.
is not going to happen. Realistically. Okay. Thank you for entertaining this rather rambling, digressive.
Believe it or
I
not,
liked it.
it's one of the
That was
more
wonderful.
organized talks we've had.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
No offense.
It'll hopefully by the third one be even more so.
So this is a non-flowering plum.
Okay. Time, and every day I'm less and less comfortable even with what seem like reasonable uses of insecticides. So a reasonable use of insecticide on this is a systemic neonicotinoid, imidacloprid or dinotefuran, either applied to the soil or a low volume basal spray will get into the system and will kill the scale. This is a wind pollinated plant, so I'm not worried about it being in the pollen.
Pollinator.
But oak trees have an ecological reputation for hosting so many different kinds of life
Right.
that it's like, okay, even this, I may not like the scale, but it probably doesn't like me, so we're on par there. And is it really damaging the tree? Not really. So, there's that. Okay. Behind those two gentlemen, what's your guess as to what species of tree that yellow dying back tree is? You've
Maple.
already seen it today.
I'm not going to. Is it the maple?
It's a silver maple.
Yeah.
It's another silver
It's
maple.
another silver maple. This is, learn this look. This is how Albuquerque silver maples look.
Are there a lot of them?
No, not that many.
Well,
They don't live
there's,
very well.
there are neighborhoods where that was the tree that the developer planted.
Really?
And
So
I've
it's
seen,
a neighborhood kind
over
of
the
thing.
course of decades, I've seen 2 or 3 that were really looking good,
Nice, yeah.
but not most of them. And then the last thing
And they're
that I
also
noticed
part
walking
of
up
this
here,
new generation of maples that are coming, that where that's one of the parents.
Oh.
This
is
is
another example of a canker.
So it'll never be okay for Albuquerque.
And this is another maple. I'm not exactly sure which one it is. It's got a pretty good sized canker going on there. The root system, we have some root collars showing. What concerns me is how all of these roots surface a foot and a half away from the trunk.
Yeah.
I think mostly what we have is we have tight congested rooting, and then these roots are coming out from below and whatnot.
And they're
So-
going up, but that is a maple thing.
Yeah, and some, I mean, I've seen silver maples that formed a root plate that was just a solid mass of wood 6 feet wide. It was amazing.
And usually on the surface, because
Yeah.
they like surface roots.
Yeah, but, will that canker in time be a problem? Maybe. Is it a problem right now? It's a minor issue right now.
and it's looking a little yellow.
Yep. And again, is that because it's a maple in Albuquerque?
Yeah.
Is that because it has a canker and some root issues?
Yeah, there's brown tips on the leaves.
Or
up there.
is it because of it's coming up on fall and it's going to begin to change its fall color?
That could
Which
be
makes
part
fall
of it too.
a terrible time to diagnose the leaf
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
issues.
And the interesting thing, of course, is that none of those are mutually exclusive. It could be any or all.
Could be all.